guys, welcome back to my channel. My name's Emily if you're new here. In today's video we're going to be going through my March wrap up and my April hopefuls, so let's get on with the video. I'm going to go through by category. I did read a numerous amount of genres this month, from manga to literary fiction to fantasy romance, so I'll just start off with manga. So for manga this month I read Attack on Titan volume 3. I did read that on my Kindle, so I will pop it up on the screen. I rated that 1 out of 5 stars. I'm really loving this series so much. I'm really beginning to understand what the Titans, like how the Titans work, and our two main characters, Eren and Mishka. So I'm really excited to continue on with that series. I also read Spy Family volume 5. I have spoken about this in my 20 plus book haul and also in my reading vlog, so I'm not going to go too in depth about this because I've already spoken on it, but I'd rate this a 5 out of 5 stars. And then going on with my literary fiction, I read The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plath. I did speak about this in my 20 plus book haul, so I'm not going to go too in depth about this, but I absolutely loved The Bell Jar. I also rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. It is just so beautiful, the writing. Sylvia Plath spoke a lot on mental health. She actually dealt with a lot of herself back in the 1950s, so this has a lot of autobiographical references. Sadly, Sylvia did take her own life in the 1960s. I think it was 1963. This book was published in 1961, I think. Don't quote me on that, but it was in the early 1960s. So Esther Greenwood, who is a 19-year-old writing student, and she arrives in New York City in the 1950s. We go through her life dealing with depression. Through a lot of issues in this novel. So we see Esther go from being a 19-year-old starting university, sadly not getting accepted into her summer writing program. So then she starts to write her thesis during that summer. Honestly, just loses herself. She gets frustrated with herself and tries to commit suicide. So yeah, it's very, very heartbreaking and raw. The whole novel honestly just felt like you were reading some sort of a poem. Sylvia's writing style was just so enthralling. I was so enthralled in the story, I didn't want to put it down. But also remember, this is a classic, a modern classic, so it is quite like the writing is quite different to some sort of the standard of a novel. So yeah, I do highly recommend this. As I said, I spoke a lot about this in my 20 plus book haul, so if you want to watch that video and really get my thoughts and feelings on this, definitely do. But this was a 5 out of 5 star read for me. I picked up Bunny by Mona Award. Now this honestly felt like a complete fever dream to me. I honestly thought to myself, what am I reading? But I was absolutely obsessed with the writing style. I really absolutely love Mona Award's writing style. I just wanted to keep reading about what happened to Samantha, if she was schizophrenic, if she was not, if she was sane. The whole entire story, you just kept wanting to know, like, theories upon theories. I wrote so many theories. I honestly just annotated so many pages. Like, most of my pages look like this. I highlighted everything in black pen because I thought that was totally the vibe that I was going through with this, and a couple of pink tabs because it's obviously a pink cover. It's just so interesting. Like, I highlighted all the bunnies. I just thought it was honestly so good. And at the end, my theories, I'm not going to give away any spoilers, but my theories on some parts of this novel was correct. A character named Ava. I'm not going to spoil anything, but if you know, you know. And then I just finished Before the Coffee Gets Cold. I'm not going to pronounce this all the same because I do not want to butcher it, but again, I finished this last night. 4 out of 5 stars. I love this. It wasn't a 5-star read personally for me. It didn't get that 5-star feeling, but it was very, very high up there. I just thought this was such a beautiful story. It had a beautiful message behind each story. So this story is about a coffee shop where you can go back to the past, but there is multiple rules, whereas like the main rule is that you have to drink the coffee before it gets cold, which means if you don't drink the coffee before it gets cold and you go back in the past, you're actually stuck within the cafe. Like, you cannot leave, you become a ghost. There's a ghost in the story, and it's very interesting. Like, the people who want to go back to the past, also if they go back to the past to see the person who they want to see, that person must have visited the cafe in their life. So it's very, very interesting. We follow 4 different stories. I cried nearly in every single one of them. I thought they were just beautiful, the message behind each one, the ending of each story. I was rooting for every single character. I was really glad that I got to read this. It was quite a short read. That's why I wanted to pick it up before the end of the month, because I wanted to read something short. So yeah, I really, really recommend this as well. I thought it was a very interesting concept of a story, and I will definitely be picking up the other 2 novels that are in this series. And then I also read The Serpent and the Wings of Night by Carissa Broadbent. I will put that up on the screen. I read this on my Kindle. This is a fantasy read. It was a 5 out of 5 star read. I am obsessed. I'm obsessed with Ryan. I'm obsessed with Aura. I honestly don't know how to pronounce her name, but I am obsessed with the story. We get us the second book coming out next month. It's about a human girl who has grown up with vampires. This world evolves around vampires and the human lands. So there's 3 different courts in within the vampire realm. So we follow the Night Court, which is what Oriah is from. Her father Vincent is a vampire. He saved her from a wreckage and she grew up fighting and learning how to protect herself. This book involves around the Kajari, which is a tournament that is held every 200 years. She enters in the Kajari and basically to win the Kajari you must defeat, kill all the other contestants in the Kajari. So at the end the Kajari is held by the goddess of death, which is Nyexia. That's how you pronounce her name, I don't know. She actually holds this event. This is 100% like the Hunger Games. There's completely different trials. I think there's 5 trials throughout this novel. So the trials have monsters and different sort of objectives that they need to do before they obviously get through to the end of the trial. Ryan meets Ryan, who is our male main character. He's a vampire, so obviously very rocky. True enemies to lovers. I was absolutely obsessed with this story. We get to see Ryan and Ryan form an alliance because in one of the tournaments they need to form an alliance with each other to help each other through to the final round. So basically we see them train together. Obviously connection forms. I just thought it was such a really good story. Ending had me gasping. I was like, oh my god, I need the second book. Now we get the second book next month, so I will definitely be reading that next month because I'm absolutely obsessed with the characters. I cannot wait to see what happens next. And I read Imagine Me by Tahara Murphy. So this is the 6th book in the Shadow Me series. I also went in depth on this in my reading vlog, which was my first video here on YouTube. So if you'd like to watch that, please go ahead and watch that. There are my in-depth thoughts and feelings on this book. I rated this a 3 out of 5 stars. I was quite disappointed with how this story went. I felt like it was very repetitive to Defy Me, which was the previous book in this series. Like I said, if you'd like to hear my proper thoughts and feelings in depth, please go watch that video. 3 out of 5 stars. This book that I read this month, I actually listened to it via audiobook. This was my first audiobook ever. That was The Hobbit by J.R.R. Tolkien. I rated this a 5 out of 5 stars. I absolutely love the audiobook. It was amazing. Voice acting, the music, the sound effects even, it was absolutely phenomenal, and I'm so grateful that I listened to it via audiobook because I've been wanting to pick up the physical copy of The Hobbit for so long, but I've just been super intimidated by language. The Hobbit was written in the 1930s, so the writing style back then in the fantasy particular intimidating to me. I didn't really know if I would be able to pronounce the words correct or understand each accent for different characters. Voice actor of Gollum, so listening to Gollum on the audiobook, I was literally obsessed. I just love The Hobbit. It was such a fun story, and I definitely will be continuing on with the Lord of the Rings series because now I am definitely hooked and I will be listening to them via audio. So that was the best format for me personally to listen to. So yeah, 5 out of 5 stars. I thought it was an absolutely amazing story to listen via audiobook, and I'm super grateful that it is also available on Spotify for free. So for my April hopefuls / TBR, I only have a couple of books on here this month. I am planning on reading over a 700-page novel, so I want to keep my TBR quite short so I don't go overboard. So the first book that I would like to read this month is House of Earth and Blood by Sarah J Maas. So I really want to start the Crescent City series. I've only heard amazing things about this series. It's finally time. I've been wanting to pick this up the last few months. I was quite skeptical on if I should read this series first or Throne of Glass, but I'm just not ready to read such a large series again. I've almost finished the Shadow Me series, so once I finish the Shadow Me series and the Vampire Academy series, then I will start the Throne of Glass series because I have too many series going on at the moment. I'm quite overwhelmed by it. But yeah, I am very excited to start the Crescent City series. I've only heard amazing things. I can't wait to follow our main character Bryce. She's a red-haired girl like me, so I'm just really excited to pick this one up. And I have The Picture of Dorian Gray by Oscar Wilde. This is one of the main classics that I want to read this year, and because I read The Bell Jar last month, it's a modern classic. I feel like I should read as many classics as I can because I absolutely love the story. and everyone raves about The Picture of Dorian Gray, so I'm very excited to pick this one up. I will be doing a reading vlog for this as well, going in depth with my thoughts and feelings, and I will be annotating. So yeah, just keep an eye out for that one. I'm very excited to get to this. And the final book on my April hopefuls, which I'm going to pop on the screen, is The Serpent and the Star-Cursed King by Cressa Wardbrand, which is the second book in the Crown of Nyrexia series. I think that's what the series is called. Anyways, it's the second book from The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I'm just obsessed with the series, and I obviously will be reading it once it's released. So yeah guys, those are the books that I've read month of March. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and I hope that you're looking forward to seeing my thoughts and opinions on my April hopefuls. If you like this video, please don't forget to like, comment and subscribe. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.